This is not about the Jewish people. This is not about Israel's right to exist. It's not about that. It is about a fight against radical Islam, a belief that radical Islam wants to take over the world and taking them at value, understanding that they believe this, they say this, and they are working every single day to get there. They have managed to shift this into a narrative warfare about Palestine versus Israel and who deserves what, and it is not about that. My friends, this is not about October 7th. I know that's radical to say, but it's not. It's not about what happened then. It's not about a retaliation for that. It's about an understanding that these people who have been saying these things all along, now they actually mean it. Now they're actually acting upon it. And now is the time that we have to eradicate these things at the source, at the core. That's what our Iran war was about. That's what the war with the Houthis is about. By the way, the Houthis are planning like a grand infiltration, and Israel's taking that very seriously, which is interesting. That is what the war with Syria is about. That is what the protection of the Druze is about. It's all about us fighting this radical Islamization that plans to take over the world. And if the Western society can't see it, more than that, if the Western society leadership is being manipulated into this, that is Israel's responsibility to fight back against and to, again, not focus on the nitty-gritty details. I mean, I've seen so many of these interviews now with Piers Morgan and with Candace and with Tucker, and they bring it down to such niche points. Well, do you care about Palestinian children? Piers, do you not care about your own children? Do you not care about the children of England? Do you understand that by you valuing the Palestinian lives over the lives of the European children, of the Jewish children, what you are saying is that their lives one day will no longer be? Because that is the radical Islamist plan. Stop focusing so much on the Palestinian conflict, focusing so much on rubbish statements like, we are going to create a Palestinian state, and understand that this starts with Israelis standing up, with the Jewish people standing up strong and calling it out for what it is. This is radical Islam. They're falling for it. Tucker Carlson, Candace Owens, these people are falling for it. Why? Because they've managed to turn us into the scapegoat. They've come at us from every direction. They've figured out in such a sophisticated way the ideas that really, really spark each society, and they've gone for those ideas. They've focused in, as we said, on the Western idea of freedom, on American idea of freedom of religion, and they managed to bring in draconian ideas to have people support a terror movement, to believe that rape is just resistance in the name of freedom, in the name of victimhood. They've created these ideas, and they've also managed to target the right. They've also managed to come after people like Candace, like Tucker, and to spark it within them. Every direction we are being attacked, but the fact that we are being attacked makes it even more important and makes us realize that what we are doing is correct, what we are doing is right. For Israelis or for the Jewish people to try and create a narrative of being more of a victim, to out-victimize the Palestinians, is wrong. It doesn't make any sense. People like winners and people like people who stand unapologetically for what they believe. Yes, it's been a shock to the system that somebody like Candace, who we all, probably most of us, actually appreciated for her intelligence, has kind of gone that way. And we'll do an episode probably one day on why that happened. It's a shock to our system, but it makes us demand that we stand up even prouder. That's why Judea and Samaria being annexed is so important. That's why these declarations actually mean something so significant. And that's why things like sending aid in is a problem. It makes us look apologetic once again. That's why the left fighting internally, all of these things are so dangerous and detrimental to the country. That's why we have to fight back against narratives internally that are destroying us from the root. The problem with the Haredi draft, the ultra-Orthodox draft, all of these issues, they should not be the focus right now. The focus needs to be the ultra extreme threat that we are all up against. Radical Islam. And it is time that we focus on that and not just on the nitty-gritty details. That is the way that we win the narrative warfare. That is the way that Israel is seen as a hero at the end of the day. We will, in history, be remembered as a hero, and we have no qualms about that. The Jewish people survive everything, and they'll survive TikTok. We will survive all of these different things because there's no other way for us. And I think that's part of what infuriates these people, is that they realize that trillions and trillions of dollars have gone into bringing us down, and they can't do it. They can't do it, not because of our intelligence, not because of our capabilities, and not because of our true commitment to morality. That is who the Jewish people are, and that is what Israel is at the end of the day. We need to rewrite the story. put October 7th aside. Remember it as our own conviction, but not keep pushing it. Keep the anti-Semitism as a reminder for ourselves, but not keep pushing that narrative online. We are not going to out-victim these videos that Hamas are creating consistently every single day, in which they put children in front of cameras, they put children in dangerous locations so that they can provide this footage. We're not going to out-victim them online, but we can outsmart them, because that is where the Jewish people have always succeeded. It worked for us with the Beepers, with Hezbollah. It worked for us in Iran. Did you know that it came out that we didn't just eliminate their nuclear abilities, we eliminated a whole bunch of other crazy missile things that they were planning to destroy us. We've set them back so far by using our brains, by using our intelligence, and by standing up unapologetically for what we believe. There are so many moments in history that we have remembered incorrectly because of the people who wrote the story. It is time for the people who are on the right side of history to start acting like it, to not be afraid of our own tales, to not move around in circles to try and deal with things like this. Palestinian state, let it go. They can claim whatever they want. It is time for us to call Macron out for exactly what he is, a person who is falling for radical Islamization of his own country, and nothing to do with a Palestinian state. Narrative warfare is going to be complicated always, especially when you're up against numbers, billions of Muslims, huge amounts of money, and a dominating strategy that started many years ago. But there is still hope for us, because if you have a story and you have an unapologetic refusal to step down from that story, and you realize with complete and total conviction that you are on the right side of history, they can't do anything to destroy us. And that is what we're seeing. That is what we're seeing every single day. And that is the importance of you, the people watching this, focusing on that, focusing and remembering what is actually important, not being one of the people who keeps on pushing out these narratives that are incorrect or fighting on niche topics, but rather coming back to this unapologetic Judaism. The fact that we are the chosen people is a complication. It is not a simple thing for us. It is not a gift. It is something that is very hard to actually hold up. And we must not forget that. And that is how we fight back. That is how we call out the Palestinian states for what it is, something that is impossible and something that's never going to happen. We call out Judea and Samaria for what it is, our homeland, and we start fighting back with a narrative that is nothing to do with what they're saying, but rather it totally circumvents it, and it stands up loud and proud against something that is radical, dark, and terrible. That, my friends, is how we are going to win.